What makes a good video? Well, some will argue that the thumbnail and the title is the absolute first thing that starts off a good video. But with thumbnails changing to a more low-key kind of taking a picture of what your environment looks like as you record the video format, is that becoming less and less important? Perhaps. Is it the topic or the niche and the fact that it matches the viewer's expectation? Or is it that the topic is just plain interesting? Is it the creator? I mean, many will argue people watch Mr. Beast for the fact that it is Mr. Beast. Or is it the video quality or the audio? And yes, I will say those are important, but I also will say that scripting is equally as important, because if you have a topic that you're talking about that clearly has no plan, that clearly has no agenda, what's the sense of doing the video really then? And I have looked into this, I have researched it, I have tried to figure out what it is that stops everyday people from creating videos, from becoming the new Mr. Beast, or becoming the new Diary of the CEO, etc. And I will say that there is an intimidation that people are afraid of doing a lot of videos outside of the whole tech thing, you know, the video quality, the audio quality, etc. A lot of people are afraid of starting because of the fact that they don't know how to script. And yes, this video is going to be on scripting, but really what a lot of people worry about when they start videos is that, you know, they sound unnatural or they don't know what to exactly cover. They're afraid of, you know, the hook. Everyone makes you afraid of the hook. That you need that first 5 to 15 seconds to bring somebody in. They're afraid of over-scripting and they're afraid of under-scripting, of not doing the topic justice or beating it to death. I have a tendency to beat it to death, I'm not gonna lie. And of course, there's the time factor. Someone like me working 9 to 5 or actually more like a 10-hour day. There's a lot of time that gets invested into doing videos, editing videos, researching videos, scripting videos, preparing everything for videos, on top of a very busy work schedule, on top of a very busy life schedule. So yes, today I'm going to talk about scripting, but I'm going to talk about what has worked for me. What has made this process a little bit easier for me, where I'm able to do it quite quickly, where I'm able to kind of do it within the time parameters that I have. And I'm gonna also talk about it where it keeps me from rambling. I used to ramble a lot, and it now keeps me focused without sounding robotic either. And yes, without a good script, you're going to have people falling off. Without a good script, you're not going to have a good video format. And it is my hopes that this video is going to help those who are starting out to sound amazing, to feel that they're in control of what the video is going to end up looking like. They're going to sound a little bit more engaging. And I really hope that it helps you do it easily as well. Because yes, I am going to show you how I use AI to save time, to hone down, to research the things I need to cover very, very quickly. And I'm going to show you the bullet point kind of format that I use. But the key thing is I'm going to show you how I outline videos, how I kind of structure them. And yes, spoiler alert, I use Disney and I use South Park. I use a combination of what their writers use in order to script my videos. And I'm going to give you my little cheat codes, you know. If you stay to the end, hey, I might have something for you as well. But let's start off. How do I use AI? How do I use AI minimally? Because I don't want to be an environmental strain. I don't want to be that person who loses brain power because I'm relying on AI too much. But I'll be honest, I want it to do some high level like research for me. And this is how I do it. The first thing that I always do when I start a new video is I ask myself 4 questions. And these questions are, who is this video for? What do I want to cover in this video? What's in it for the viewer? And what do I want them to take away from my video? And once I kind of figure out that, that's where I use AI. I put those parameters into the AI prompt. Once I kind of know the concept of the video, that is where I then jump into AI. I know my ideal audience, you know, for me on this channel, it's people who are interested in business. It's people who are interested in YouTube. It's people who are interested in optimizing their business. It's people who are entrepreneurial in their mindset. So knowing my ideal viewer, who I'm creating these videos for, I go to AI and I ask things like, what is the pain point for this group of people doing this? And this meaning, fill in the blank. And I use this in creating this video actually as well. My prompt was along the lines of, I'm creating a YouTube video for people who may want to start YouTube, but for whatever reason haven't started, but I want to look at their pain points in relation to scripting specifically. Can you please give me all the pain points of somebody who perhaps hasn't started YouTube videos, but wants to, but what is their intimidation around scripting? Once I know that, I'm able to look at it and say, okay, what part of this do I want to focus on? Because I'll be honest, there's a huge list that you're not going to be able to cover in one video. Perhaps that's for future videos, so you might get extra content out of this, but specifically I hone in on the points that I want to cover. And in this video, you actually saw that at the beginning when I outlined what are all of the things that people are intimidated to start videos in relation to scripting. Now, let's look at Disney. So if I take a look at Disney and kind of how they outline videos, they use the hero's journey for the most part as to how they outline their script, their movie, etc. It follows a distinctive flow. And I'll put this on screen, I'll create a kind of a graphic on it as well. But this is the hero's journey. This is something that I posted in a LinkedIn post recently. But basically it outlines where a person is, or the situation of where they are, their desire, what they want to get or what they want to do, the conflict. There has to be something in between that kind of stops them. The change, or when they actually go for their goal, the change that they personally go through, and eventually then the result or the win out of the situation. Now, Disney does put in a whole lot of messages on love and courage and care for others and all of that. In between that, they really draw in the emotion of wanting to kind of tell you a story. And this is 100% a storytelling format that wins them Oscars, that wins them prizes, that wins them views, that wins them an audience who has grown up with them and loves them continually. And I'm going to show you at the very end how I actually use that journey in this video, believe it or not, on creating a script, which you would think is not a very storytelling format, but I'm going to show you at the end as well. But then I also promised to use South Park. How do I use South Park for scripting? See, Disney brings all the feels, it brings the hero's journey. But when you use South Park, you have to transition it a little bit differently. And I will say that the writers of South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they're absolutely brilliant in the way that they use their storytelling format. Very different from the hero's journey, yes and no, but what they use is actually something I used at the very beginning of this kind of transition into South Park.
But then I also promised to use South Park. How do I use South Park for scripting?
They use a but and therefore format. So their hero, the character, does this, but then this happens. Therefore, this happens. But then this happens. Therefore, this happens. That is the format that they use. Really, when it comes down to it, the South Park creators use a cause and effect type of way of doing storytelling. So how do we bring this all together now? We have AI, very, very techy. We have Disney with all the feels, the journey. We have South Park with cause and effect. How do we get this all into a video? Whether it's for a script on a vlog, or whether it's a script for something boring like a scripting video. Now, this is the way that I have personally done it. I use AI for the pain point prompt. I figure out with that prompt what I'm going to hone in on. what specific talking points I am going to use. And then from there, I let the AI know who my ideal client is, or ideal viewer in this case. I let them know what I am looking to do the video on. I ask them to hone in on, the specific pain points that I want to tune in on, or maybe the whole list, depending on what it is, if it's not too long. Then I give them the prompt of, can you position this video? Can you create an outline for me done in a Disney movie format, where we take somebody through a journey, a hero's journey specifically, using emotions as much as we possibly can. And I will say AI does a great job of outlining that for me usually. They tend to go a little bit overkill, so sometimes I actually have to tell it to tone it down a bit. It basically outlines the video as kind of the 5 different ways, and then adds like a call to action at the end for let's call it a 6th play format. But the situation is usually the introduction. The desire is what we want to get out of this video. The conflict is where we are, what's going wrong, why can't we do it? The change is, what we go through, what we learn, what we do to then get to the very end, which obviously is the result, the goal, etc. I then ask AI, and I'm using Claude specifically right now, but I ask Claude to then say, where would be some points where I can use but and therefore to keep my video script moving forward? And you saw where exactly it was used here. So yes, I mix the two together and I let AI do kind of the heavy lifting, the researching and the outline for me. And yes, you can absolutely use a digital format. Myself, I don't want anything on during videos, so I actually put them onto cue cards lately. You can use sticky notes, whatever works for you. My writing is terrible, I'll be honest. Being ADHD, it's this half script, half writing thing. If you looked at it, it's terrible. I'll try to make them look nicer for future videos, etc. But basically, this allows me to kind of keep track of where I am and allows me to keep it fluid. So I'm talking about my kind of research and experience, etc., without reading a whole script that sounds boring as if I'm reading you an encyclopedia. All right, I know I promised I'd outline where I use this all in this video. So here it is. So at the beginning, you heard what makes a good video, that people want to make videos that are really good, that are engaging. But then there's the conflict of they don't know what to say, they don't know what to write, they don't know what to put in their video, they don't know how to structure their topic, etc. That was all at the very beginning. It was pretty much bang, bang, one right after another. And that's where it is often in whether it's a book or whether it's a video. And this area is usually pretty short because if we dwindle too much in this area, it becomes boring and people tune out. And then we talked about the change in this video. So how I use AI, how I use the Disney format, how I use South Park to creating scripts, etc. And the result is right now, you get to see how this video plays out. So yes, I used this exact structure for this video completely. It allows me to kind of fine tune, to stay on topic, to avoid rambling, and to get the point across while taking you through a storytelling format. And if you stayed this long, I promised that there was going to be like a little thing for you. And to say thank you, below is a link that you can get the prompts that I use to researching and developing my script. I'm not a gatekeeper. I wouldn't have done this video on scripting if I was. So I'm going to give you the AI prompts. You don't have to use AI. You can absolutely use this just to research on your own if you are anti-AI. I know there are times that I'm morally conflicted about using it myself. So it's done in a format where you can use it for AI or you don't have to. And my next video, as you can see, I have a ton of videos on different things. I actually even created a new channel recently on top of an old channel that I had. I also had been doing some political content for the last little while. on TikTok. So based on that, I want to talk about multi-passionate creators, multi-passionate people, and also how ADHD kind of affects this for me as well. That whole fear of missing out. Yeah, I want to talk about multi-passionatism, both on how it is a blessing and a curse. Sometimes for me, more of a curse than anything. I hope you like and comment. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe because there's no skin in the game for it for you. You can always follow and then unfollow. It helps a small channel out if you do. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Thanks for watching right to the end, and see you in future videos.